Maya.
I'd like to introduce Josh Gibson. He's in support of Bill 79, and he represents himself.
Aloha, everybody. My name is Josh Gibson, and I'm representing North Kohala. My county representative is Margaret Wille. First of all, I'd like to thank Margaret, everyone who has testified in support of this bill, and all the sustainable organic farmers locally and throughout the rest of the world. This is a very important time in human history for change to take place for a better future. And part of that lies in honest, small-scale, sustainable farmers like myself and my peers to supply real food to local markets and not for multinational corporations like Monsanto to be pushing poison to the masses for short-term monetary goals. We're tired of being lied to. We're tired of being extorted and bullied. We will not tolerate being experimented on against our will. I will not tolerate this world being turned into a chaotic petri dish so a few men can relish their so-called power. The people are waking up and an ethical movement is underway right now. Monsanto's unethical treatment of the world and its people is on our radar and soon to come to a halt. Hawaii, let's shine as an example to the rest of the world that we the people are strong and we can do it ourselves. Monsanto, the end of your time is at hand and our time to lead is now. Mahalo.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Emil Tovek. He's in support of Bill 79, and he also represents himself.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much to our representative, Margaret, for doing all your hard work and bringing this opportunity for us and our voices to be heard. Thank you for all the testifiers today who did their research and came with this overwhelming amount of evidence in support of this bill. I just want us all to ask ourselves what kind of legacy we want to leave, and how we want to be remembered. And the fact is that these islands have been sustainable for such a long time. The Hawaiians ate 70% kalo and were so strong they didn't need the beef, and we have the power to be in control of our own health and have a completely healthy, functional market for naturally grown food. To all the papaya farmers who are poisoning their neighbors in favor of having a lower bottom line, if you're poisoning your neighbors just for your own business, that's not right. Find a new business or change it. Someone mentioned that you can use completely natural methods to produce a much more valuable papaya, a much more delicious papaya. Your GMO rainbow papayas, they're not that good. Come try our exoticas. I spit these seeds on the ground and leave them, and they grow healthier, more vital, and more delicious than your sprayed papayas. All of us have, every human, every living thing has the desire to be happy and to be free from suffering. And for that reason, it is immoral to place these laws and to allow these poisons into our communities and let these evil men call the shots for us. Mahalo nui. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. We'll come back here. We now have Dr. Ashley Stokes.
Aloha and good afternoon. I'm Dr. Ashley Stokes, Extension Veterinarian for CTAHR and a researcher in veterinary physiology and pharmacology. I'm representing myself today and not the University of Hawaii, and I strongly oppose Bill 79. We must consider the scientific evidence regarding GMOs and the scientific advancements have been made through genetic engineering. The first GMOs in 1973 were bacteria. A meeting in 1975 of researchers and other concerned groups determined to ensure public safety that government oversight of genetic engineering should be established. Since that time, the GMO-related industries have been heavily regulated, and scientific studies have been undertaken with great determination to ensure safety. Genetic engineering techniques have been applied in numerous fields, including research, agriculture, industrial biotechnology, and medicine. from uses such as enzymes used in detergents to medicines such as insulin, are manufactured from GM cells. Pharmaceutical products range from recombinant hepatitis B vaccine produced by GM baker's yeast to injectable insulin for diabetics that is produced in GM E. coli. Medications for hemophiliacs, heart attack, and stroke patients are also produced in GM cell lines. Before genetic engineering technology, the production of these animal-sourced insulin required the slaughter of the animal and insulin extraction. Synthetic human insulin was produced by genetic engineering in a laboratory in 1977 and went on the market in 1982 under the brand name Humulin, a GMO product that is used by thousands of diabetics in Hawaii and constitutes the vast majority of insulin currently used worldwide. Genetic engineering produced these life-saving medications. Another application of GMOs is in the management of environmental issues. For example, GM bacteria can produce biodegradable plastics and have been developed to clean up toxic sites. Finally, genetic modifications for human medical use, also called gene therapy, is becoming a treatment option for diseases ranging from rare metabolic disorders to cancer. The use of GMOs in medicine and research has produced many products that have tremendous benefits for people. Similar to many other technologies, the production and application of GMOs has been and can continue to be used to address and resolve complicated scientific, medical, and environmental issues, but they must be used wisely and current federal regulation should continue. The highly specific technology that has been developed to create these beneficial products I've mentioned is also what is used to advance agricultural development. There is an exemption in this bill for medical and laboratories and medical use. The use of genetically engineered products has been recognized in this bill as being beneficial, which strongly supports science and clinical use. So why do we then condemn agricultural products that are generated using the same technology? It just doesn't make sense.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ruggles?
Thank you. Thank you, all of you, for taking responsibility on this issue. GMO supporters claim that GMOs are safe and no different than the crossbreeding that happens naturally in nature or in traditional agriculture. However, the genetic makeup of organisms are simply not naturally implanted with genes from bacteria, viruses, and genes from completely different species in nature. And these combinations just don't occur naturally in nature or in traditional crossbreeding. More than 60 countries around the world have significant restrictions or outright bans on GMOs, including all countries in the European Union, Australia, and Japan. Biotech companies like Monsanto told us that Agent Orange, PCBs, and DDT were safe. They are now using the same type of superficial, rigged research to convince us that GMOs are safe. Independent scientists have caught them red-handed, demonstrating how industry-funded research is designed to avoid adverse results. GM crops and associated herbicides reduce biodiversity, pollute our water resources, and are unsustainable. Roundup has been shown to cause birth defects and embryonic deaths and endocrine disruptions and organ damages in animals, even with small doses. Most importantly, if we have GMOs on the island, they crossbreed with our seeds, and our seeds will create seeds that cannot reproduce themselves, halting food production on the island, making us dependent on outside seed resources. And that's what's happened in various countries in South America and in India, where farmer suicide rates are an epidemic. If we allow Monsanto to control our seed means food control, and food control means people control, means slavery. So let's take control of our island and deal with this now. Monsanto has got access on all the other islands and all around the world. It's great that GMOs have created insulin and all these other great things, but why can't we just not have it here? It'll benefit us. And why can't we just be the only place without it? And we really won't be missing out on anything. Furthermore, the bottom line is that the people of Hawaii do not support this. So thank you for taking a stand on and being our leaders on this issue. and putting your personal opinions aside and heeding the will of your people and passing this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ruggles. We're now going to, why, ma'am?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have no testifiers.
Okay, thank you. Hilo. We're on the downhill side, guys. Okay, Eric Tanouye. Tanouye, thank you. And Jeffrey Last. And is, okay, does Pahoa have? Oh, yes. Pahoa, I'll get right back to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jeff spoke in Pahoa?
Chairperson Ford and committee members, thank you. My name is Eric Tanouye with Hawaii Floriculture and Nursery Association, HEFNA. We're a group of about 300 members statewide. 60% is on the Big Island, and we're all small business. We are not large business. A lot of our members are mom and pop, husband and wife operations, and we really need the technology. I will stand by my testimony submitted. We strongly oppose Bill 79. First, what I'd like to do is point out that the exemption clause is not really an exemption clause because it's going to require us to use a USDA biosafety level number 3 facility. It will make growing biotechnology crops in floriculture and ornamentals almost impossible, and leaving alone the economics of producing crops in that kind of facility. So that is very difficult to have in the bill. It would make it very difficult. Floriculture is a fashion and vanity industry also. So what we need really is not that our crops stay the same forever. Our crops are changing and evolving with the demand of the marketplace. We need, and the pressure on our growers is we need a breeding program and biotechnology program together, because it is not always very easy where you can have a conventional breeding program do what we need to do, especially in the area of resistance to invasive pests and diseases. This is where the tools of the trade come in with biotechnology. And to deny that for our industry because we're a non-edible industry is absurd. To leave us in the dark would only mean that in a strong global competition, you would basically be making the decision for our members, wherever they are, on the island or the state for that matter, to be denied and to be not competitive. And that means at the time, as of Haas 2011, $70 million that our industry is worth in 2011, you would be saying that would be insignificant. You would be saying that the livelihoods of our 300 plus members is not worth it. And then we have to come back and strongly disagree with you on that. We really need you to be visionary in this point, and to do more research, to get educated about this innovative technology. So in summary, thank you for being open, hearing my testimony. We hope that you get more information, get more educated, because I think we would like to see this bill defeated. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to go to Pahoa.
Thank you. We have a single testifier. Mr. Howard Rosen will be speaking on Bill number 79 in support, representing himself. Whenever you're ready. Go ahead.
Thank you, Council, and thank you to all concerned. First, I'd like to say that any industry that is concerned with profit for vanity or things of this nature over the perpetuation of life itself needs to check itself and really have some serious soul reflection as to where their soul lies on that. The life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. GMOs are not righteous. industry-supported science that touts the benefits of GMOs does not for a second take responsibility for the fact that GMOs have been directly linked to the reduction of bees countrywide and the reduction of natural crops and seeds that could perpetuate themselves has been done for millennia. When you have to go to a company to get your food and jump through their hoops like people do in certain nations in Africa, where starvation's off the hook, but you have to go through the companies to get your seed rather than perpetuate them yourself, is a form of slavery, and it should be intolerated. I fully support the prohibition of GMOs worldwide. If you want to do some GMO research in your controlled laboratory and not let them out to the general public, that may be one thing, but to do GMO testing and to let them out as the papaya seed was several years ago is to wreak havoc for future generations. GMOs have been directly linked to the mass suicides of farmers all over India because their traditional farming techniques no longer yield. Farmers throughout the United States have lost their livelihood because GMOs by Monsanto's, the Roundup Ready crops, have seeped into and been seeded into their normal crops, where now Monsanto's has tried to take the farms away from family farmers who have had their farms for generations by saying that they stole their crop when it came in on the seed off of Monsanto's trucks. GMOs are just not Pono. Crisscrossing life itself in DNA and RNA for profit is just not worth it. As far as the benefits of insulin and other things of that nature that have come up, it's been proven in double-blind placebo tests that proper diet and the introduction of nutraceuticals, which are pharmaceutical-grade whole nutrients that are grown from organic, nutrient-rich whole foods, have done the same as far as curing diabetes completely without the use of insulin. And this is documented in Harper's Biochemistry and the Physician's Desk reference if he's looking there under Ambertos. I fully support the prohibition of GMOs worldwide.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pahoa. We're going to call Elton Mao, Dr. Roy Lozano, followed by Shawna Wolff and Donald Wessels. Mr. Mao, please start. Would you push the button? Yeah, turn, the red light goes on. Okay, and keep it close to you.
Okay, is it ready?
Please give your name first.
Hello, my name is Elton Mao. I'm currently the president of the Orchid Growers of Hawaii, statewide association of 100 commercial orchid growers. I would like to state that the Orchid Growers of Hawaii are against Bill 79, which would prohibit genetically modified organisms. The association is currently awaiting final stages of research and testing of virus-resistant orchid plants that were developed by the University of Hawaii College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources. A virus in orchids causes a brown discoloration, especially on white orchid flowers, the main product of the cut flower orchid industry. Once the plants are infected with the virus, there is no cure, and the plants must be discarded. The infected plants causes loss of productivity and revenue for the growers. If Bill 79 is passed, then the Orchid Growers of Hawaii may never be able to use this valuable tool or any future tools that involve genetic modification. We urge to vote against Bill 79.
Thank you. Mr. Mao.
I've been a chiropractor for 35 years. I represent all of my patients, the 3,000 plus that I have in my present practice. One of the definitions, oh, by the way, this is the first time I've spoken in front of this council, and I have to say, what a handsome, intelligent group of people, including the county clerk. What a great looking group of people. I hope you don't just look intelligent. I didn't prepare anything. I decided to ad lib it here. One of the definitions of chiropractic is the study of things natural, science of things natural. And so naturally I cannot support GMO because it is not natural. I've heard people talk about the papaya, rainbow papaya, as being saved. When I moved over from Maui 10 years ago, I was looking for a farm to buy, and so I bought a 32-acre parcel down on Pohiki Road. 20 acres of it was in papaya, and as soon as I took over, I asked the grower to stop. He had a 6 months more lease, and so I allowed him to do that. It's not like you think. They don't put a seed in there and it grows. They put a seed in there, they put artificial fertilizers. Every 6 weeks, they have to use Roundup to kill the weeds around it, and every 4 weeks, they have to hand spray it with copper sulfide to kill the fungus that it was supposed to prevent. It's a very toxic papaya, and I recommend you don't eat it. I heard another gentleman mention insulin. Now, previously to World War II, this is how farming took place. There'd be a winter snow. There'd be a spring melt. Those rich nutrients from the mountains would go into the river, and because there were no dams, they would overflow under the soils and leave 70 minerals that created the best food on planet Earth, that made your grandparents, made my grandparents, made the Hawaiians that could travel across the oceans with no compass, made the men who could climb the Himalayas without fancy equipment. After World War II, there was an excess of nitrogen from TNT, and the businessmen got together and they said, well, what are we going to do? And they said, well, if you add phosphorus and potassium, those three minerals can make food, or what looks like food. They added a few more. Present food, agricultural business, usually has about 7 minerals, 1/10 of the 70 that human body needs. One of them that's missing from the present soils, this kind of farming, is magnesium. And magnesium is essential for blood sugar regulation. So essentially, the farmers, the GMO, the agribusiness has created an insulin problem causing diabetes, and now they want to solve it with another GMO solution. It's just not the correct way. So, I sat in front of the previous council numerous times on the geothermal, and we presented really good information and data, and yet good bills were voted down. So I'm wondering, how do I help you guys to see and make the right decision? So, visualize with me. We're walking into a banquet room. You have 2 huge tables, one on the left, one on the right. The one on the right is all full of organic food, vegetables, fruits, fish, beef. It's glowing, because actually organic food does look better. On the other side, you have a GMO. GMO beef, GMO fish, GMO salmon, colored pink, GMO fruit and vegetables. And it actually says there, this is all GMO, genetically modified food, DNA issues involved, that has 1/10 the minerals that you need in your body, and this other one has everything. Oh, by the way, you came with your parents, your grandparents, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and you're going to choose which table to go to. You got married, I bet you're going to have kids soon, and someday you're going to have kids. Which one are you going to feed them with? That's my question to you, and to help you vote better.
Thank you, Doctor. All right. Shawna Wolff, please come forward. Donald Wessels. And those are to be followed by Cornelius Callahan and Thomas D. something or other. With the D. something or other and the guy before him, please come up and sit in the front row to be ready. Thank you. I apologize, I can't read your name at all. Shawna, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Shawna Wolff. I support Bill 79. I've lived on the Big Island for 20 years. This is my home, and I'd hate to see it damaged and the health of our future generations compromised. One of the testifiers here has helped written the Green Economy Report. In this baseline sustainability report, there's no mention of any benefits GMOs would give to the green economy. The industries which develop GE crops and animals promote them as ideal solutions to nutrition, world hunger, and the environment. However, an increasing amount of studies are proving GMOs to be a danger, not only to human and livestock health, but also to the surrounding ecosystem. These crops haven't been tested thoroughly enough to know of any long-term or multi-generational effects on humans. animals that have been tested on developed severe health problems, including tumors and kidney and liver damage. When researching online, I found one study where several generations of hamsters were fed GMOs. By the third generation, the hamster pups had begun growing hair in their mouth. These health problems come not only from GE crops, but from the pesticides used to control weeds around them. Since the introduction of GMOs in 1994, cancer and allergy rates have risen. Chronic illnesses have risen 7 to 13% in the past 9 years. 1 out of 17 kids under the age of 3 now have food allergy. There's been a 265% increase in hospitalizations related to food allergies. People allergic to peanuts are now allergic to soy. Is there a correlation? These GM crops are having a negative effect on the soil's microflora as well. Soil samples are showing a decrease in beneficial bacteria and enzymes. Without these flora, the soil begins to die, leaving us with sterile soil, unable to produce anything. Hawaii has a complicated and delicate ecosystem that we don't fully understand. We have such potential for self-sufficiency here, but by unleashing more GMOs, we may be robbing ourselves of that chance, with irreversible damage that can't be taken back. Our food supply is a lifeline. Let's not mess with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please go forward.
Thank you. My name is Donald Wessels. I live in Pepikeo. Thank you, Margaret Wille, for introducing Bill 79. I'd like to start with the idea of the precautionary principle. What is the precautionary principle, you may ask? Well, simply stated, the precautionary principle holds that it's better to be safe than sorry. This principle states that evidence of harm rather than definitive proof of harm should prompt public policy. The precautionary principle also calls for the burden of proof to lie with the manufacturer to demonstrate that toxic chemicals and genetically modified crops are safe rather than the public to show they cause any harm. The precautionary principle sides with our health, not the economic health of Monsanto's bottom line. Free market principles side with the profits of companies that, in this case, manipulate and own the genetics of living beings to sell to us their agricultural poisons and to monopolize our food sources. If Monsanto wants to introduce GMO to Hawaii Island, the burden of proof is with them. Why should we put at risk to serve their profits? We demand that the Hawaii Island be a GMO-free zone. We demand home rule and a healthy, sustainable future for our children. We demand that our governments follow the democratic principles of safety first over the so-called economic principles of corporate profits first. I am supporting Bill 79 because it supports the precautionary principle, it supports our health, and it serves to strengthen this county's democracy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cornelius Callahan, James D. Honestly, I can't read it. D something. Thomas Kosher D something. Okay. Kristine Kubat. Okay. These two will be followed by Terry Lynn Pereira and Nohea Crutcher. Would you guys come to the front row? Cornelius Callahan, please go forward with your testimony.
Aloha, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of Bill 79. I'm the vice president of a local company that primarily deals with organic food. We have about 40 employees and thousands of intelligent registered voters who are our customers. This bill, I believe, is hugely important. It represents an historic opportunity for us as residents of Hawaii and for you as legislators to do the right thing. The truth about the dangers and the long-term damage represented by GMO crops is well documented and readily available. But even if it wasn't absolutely crystal clear, the waters are muddy enough to justify an extremely cautious approach. The problem with Monsanto for me is that they have been documented over and over again as outright lying, falsifying information. They've been sued for bad business practices. They said dioxin didn't cause cancer. They have polluted the world with DDT, half of the United States with PCBs, all of which they denied responsibility for. They've left a terrible, tragic wreckage behind them in their move to basically take over the world's seed distribution and food production parts of our lives. I'll read a couple of things which probably will reiterate things you've already heard, but the American Academy of Environmental Medicine urges doctors to prescribe non-GMO diets for all patients, citing animal studies showing organ damage, gastrointestinal and immune system disorders, accelerated aging, and infertility. Every time they bring GMO crops in, herbicide use goes way, way up. Roundup in particular has been linked with sterility, hormone disruption, birth defects, and cancer. Posilac, what they're promoting in milk, has been linked to breast cancer, colon cancer, and prostate cancer. So on the one side, you've got profit. On the other side, you have people. And that's the decision that we have to make here. I'm not saying Bill 79 is perfect. It's a step in the right direction. There are so many GMOs in the state now, we will never get rid of them. They lied to us about the fact that the genes can transfer. So now the genie's out of the bottle. But at some point, you have to draw a line in the sand and say, enough, let's slow this down. Let's see what we can do to mitigate the damage and decide what the long-term damage really is, because it's the health of our kids and our grandchildren that's on the line. So we need to protect our people, our water, and our soil. And that's what sustainability is. Organic farming can produce more per acre than unsustainable chemical and fertilizer-based agriculture. And we're running out of oil. You're talking about 2050, we're not going to be spending the oil money on the tractors and the diesel and the fertilizer and the insecticides and the pesticides, which are killing us anyway. So please do your due diligence, do your homework, and represent the will of the people who really, really just want to eat good, healthy food and live long, productive lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before I allow you to speak, Ms. Kubat, I caution to remind people that if you have not fed your parking meters outside, you need to think about that, because we don't want you to get a ticket. And please don't park in the county lot over here in the back side of the building. Ms. Kubat, please go forward.
Aloha, my name is Kristine Kubat, and I reside in J. Yoshimoto's district. We used to think, but now we know. We used to think, but now we know. We used to think asbestos was awesome. It came from nature and it kept things from burning and it helped keep rooms quiet, and there was no scientific evidence that it caused any harm, so woohoo! We used it in classrooms and homes and ships and planes as concrete and pipes and fireplaces and insulation. We put it in flooring, roofing, lawn furniture, and yeah, drywall, compound. Awesome. The first documented case of death due to asbestos exposure was in 1904. More than 99 years later, its commercial use was finally banned. 10 years later, we still strive to remove it from the environment at great expense to our government, economy, and well-being. We went from thinking asbestos was awesome to knowing it was okay to treat children's pajamas with chlorinated tris, until it was proven that chlorinated tris mutated DNA. Oops, sorry kiddies, time to ban chlorinated tris from your jammies. But don't worry, we will still gain that extra 2 minutes of comfort while your bed is on fire by dousing you with polybromated diphenyl ethers. Never mind that PBDE is linked to damage of the nervous and reproduction systems and impaired thyroid function. Never mind that they accumulate in the environment and in your body. Never mind that North Americans have the highest body burden of PBDEs in the world. A link is not enough. There is no scientific evidence that PBDEs are harmful. Just ask the guys who make it. Similarly, although 1604 is the first documented case of written warnings against tobacco smoking, 1604, vested interests managed to support the lie that there was no link between tobacco smoking and ill health until 1990, When doctors began showcasing dead smokers with black tar-encrusted lungs in the 1940s, the tobacco industry responded by starting the Tobacco Industry Research Commission, which for another unbelievable 50 years successfully challenged conventional wisdom as well as good science by stating that no cause and effect relationship between smoking and cigarettes existed. And let's be very clear about this. If somebody tells you that GMOs are not harmful, what they're saying is that there has been no proven cause and effect relationship between GMOs and illness, something which by its very nature can take decades to prove. So the point, we're on our own here, okay? We are entitled to think for ourselves. We don't need scientists to tell us what to think. And our children's well-being demands it. Let's make intelligent choices. I'm clear that it's not okay to take genes from flounders and put them in strawberries and turn them loose in the environment. Hopefully you have that same level of common sense.
Thank you very much. Terry Lynn Perreira and Nohea Crutcher, please come forward. Followed by Kimberly Fujioka and Hawane Rios. Are you Terry Lynn Perreira?
I am. My daughter was before me.
Do you want her to come first? What is her name?
Kiana Perreira Kiavikani. She signed in. I think the clerk or the great lady in the back thought my daughter was going to school, but she wanted to stay, so she missed school.
I understand. Today. I don't have anything for her, but I will allow her to testify.
Can she speak first?
Yes, she may.
Mahalo.
Please give your name.
Oh, okay. My name is Kiana Perreira Kiavikane. Before I start before I talk about what I need to talk about, I'd like to thank you guys for listening. Thank you for everybody who came. I know this is a long process, but it's worth it. So mahalo. My name is Kiana Perreira Kiavikane, and I'm a senior at Kamehameha Schools, Hawaii. I'm 17 years old, and I disagree with genetic modification because of the many health risks that have been proven by lots of people who already went and talked about health risks. There was a couple human studies done, and even before the study, 3 out of the 7 people were already showed gene transfer between their stomach and the actual soy, GMO soy it was. There's lots of animals that are being destroyed and that are dying because of GMO, and there's just a lot of health risks. GMO has a negative impact on our aina and our people because of the, not only itself, but the unnatural pesticides and the chemicals associated with it. I understand that Hawaii imports 85% of the foods that we eat, and a lot of it's GMO, guaranteed. So not for it, our island doesn't need it. We have a lot of it around that affects us already. The long-term effects of GMO is unknown, and I think we could at least wait till we know, like, for sure that it won't negatively impact us that much. Our children depend on it, My future children, your children now, all of our children is exposed to this environment that we live in, and the chemicals that are released in the air, even people who aren't the fetuses, in one study, 93% of pregnant women were found with BT corn, that toxin into their bodies, and 80% of their fetuses were all affected by that toxin. Also, our current leaders now, they sit under the words, the sovereignty and the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. It's specific to the land. Obviously, lots of people came and talked about how they oppose GMO and support this bill. So I don't really see the righteousness in GMO. The increase of genetically modified crops on our island is not righteous. It's all pono. It exposes our aina and our people to dangerous chemicals. It revokes the freedom of organic farmers because the choice comes into consideration. What Molokai Islander chose to be caught up in the dust storm, like chose to be a victim of that. Like the people in CTAHR that are suffering from infertility. Even when you talk about smoking, what secondhand smoker chooses that? It's really hard to distinguish. there are healthier alternatives like IMOs, organic feed, and these alternatives will highly be unlikely if the GMO farms, with the frequency of more and more GMO farms. So on behalf of my kupuna, my future keiki, my name is Keanu Perreira Kiavikane. I disagree with genetic modification and I support this bill. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Terry Lynn.